You know what time it is. It's that time for this week's sports report. But once a frog, always a frog. So huge congratulations are in order for Big V, who's a starting left tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles and is now a Super Bowl champ. Let's dive into this week's sports report. Now, starting out, women's equestrian is 2-0 in this new year. They had a huge win over number 3 Texas A&M and then defeated Fresno State, where the Frogs swept all 4 of the MOP honors, which is equivalent to winning the MVP for each event. Now, up next, the women return on the saddle and travel to Waco to take on those Baylor Bears. Now, since the last time we checked in with Guillermo Nunez, men's tennis fell to San Diego, beat Louisville, traveled to North Carolina, and return home tomorrow to take on USF. And women's tennis closes out their 5-game homestand against Prairie View A&M and Rice. And it's February, so you know what that means. Baseball season is just 8 days away. The Frogs open up their season on the road at Grand Canyon University and then return home to take on UT Arlington. And then their first home stand is the weekend of February 23rd as they take on Long Beach State. And moving on to a team that I wish I could be a part of to travel to the places that they go, men's golf just concluded their tournament in Hawaii and tied for 5th place behind Stefano Mazzoli, who led the team and tied his career best score. Now up next, the men travel to Palm Desert while the women open up this calendar season by traveling to Puerto Rico. And moving on to indoor track and field, where they just competed at the Charlie Thomas Invitational, where once again the men's 4x4 team was the storyline from the meet and took first place yet again. They now sit at first place in the Big 12 and 8th nationally. And finally, earlier this week, I sat down with Sydney Coleman from our women's basketball team to preview their huge matchup against Oklahoma State from this week. I'm joined now by Sydney Coleman from our women's basketball team, and you guys are now riding your best record through 11 league games since joining the Big 12. So what's working for the team right now?
I think the biggest thing is our focus on defense and our focus on our team identity, that we have a relentless effort with defense, that we're selfless and just getting down and gritty on the floor and just getting, 50-50 balls, getting those more. So just having like that really gritty attitude on defense is really working.
And I think what also helps is building that team chemistry. So I know you guys as a team traveled to Australia before the season started. Do you think that helped to build that team chemistry, or how is?
Well, I mean, this being the first year that we didn't have 2 months off instead of, going to Australia, we only had like a couple of weeks just to go home. So we're definitely around each other way more. But just the fact that we traveled across the world together, got to play basketball together, got to meet, these beautiful girls at Aboriginal College, got to meet, different players from, just like, I don't know, the whole experience itself was really eye-opening because I've never been outside the country. Half the team hasn't been outside the country. Spent 17 hours on a plane together. Like, you got to bond at some point. So it was a really fun experience. So definitely, I think that plays a part in our team chemistry.
It's that priceless time. And you as a senior this year, so I'm sure you're trying to soak in all these moments.
Oh, my goodness. There's like, if someone asked me what my favorite moment of my senior year would be, I'd be like, can I have like 5 to give you? Because, I mean, this year has been, just like, it's bittersweet, I'm going into the real world, I'm leaving, but at the same time, like, my girls, my sisters, like, I'm still here, we still have things to look forward to, and, I don't want to leave them, but as time happens, and you just got to grow up sometimes. But it's been a really good fun, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, no matter where you go, the Frog family has always got you, so we always got your back.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Now, previewing your season ahead, you guys face Oklahoma State this week. That's a big one, so what's that going to look like?
After our loss to Texas, you got to have a paradigm shift. In the Big 12, you have to have a very short-term memory. And knowing that we haven't seen OSU yet, and they're kind of, equal caliber to us, and knowing the magnitude of the game, our focus has to be on the whole time. We can't have any lapses of judgment. We can't have any, little to no room for error in practice today. And we have to stay hungry. Like, we can't beat ourselves up and like, oh no, what did we do wrong? You gotta fix your mistakes and you gotta keep pushing, because this Big 12 is unforgiving.
And you guys are both, you and Oklahoma State are tied for 3rd place right now in the Big 12.
Yes,
now, I asked Tori earlier, I asked her your motto, tougher together this year. What does tougher together mean to you?
Coach is always preaching to us to have an element of toughness anyways. You don't wanna let your opponent see you sweat. But the fact that we're together, I mean, it's hard to knock a unit off a boat. You know, like if you're together and you're tight knit, no matter what happens, if the boat rocks, your core is still very tight. And with that, there's no individual that carries us. I mean, obviously, from our games, we play a very deep bench. We have a lot of depth, and that in itself is we're together. Like no matter what you throw at us, we got it for y'all as well. And just knowing with the team chemistry that we built, and when we hit adversity on the floor, it doesn't make us go apart. It just makes us become tighter and stronger together.
I love this. This women's basketball team is one unit together. Well, Sydney, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Now, stay tuned. There's more to come here on Horned Frogs Nation as Brian Estridge sits down with Coach Peebly.